Hey everybody, what's up? This is CJ, better known as Y2CJ3600. I'm here to show you how to Photoshop once again. And today we're going to be learning how to Photoshop everybody's favorite X-Men, Wolverine. We're going to start off by making a new document. We're going to have it transparent, and we're going to have the resolution to 96. We're going to have the width to 990. And we're going to have the height to 720. That's just normally the measurements I use when making a video. Now we're going to make our transparent page black, and we're also going to add in a folder. Okay, we're going to start off with a daredevil picture like we always do. And luckily I found a toy picture of Daredevil when he was in his yellow and brownish red outfit. We won't have to do much of color scheme on this one. It's already done for us. Since this picture is a PNG, we're going to select all, and then we're going to drag it over. I'll make this a little bit more bigger by going to Edit, Free Transform, and just make that a little bit more bigger. I just want to get rid of this little white part that's around his eye that I didn't get rid of a long time ago. Now we're going to be getting rid of the horn, so we'll just take our selection tool and then we'll delete that. Now we gotta fill in that little part of his horn, and we're gonna select a part of his forehead that is very close to the horn so we get the same shading area of it. And once we get that, we're gonna copy and paste, and now we're gonna mask this in. And the mask button is on the layer window, and it's the second button at the very bottom of the tray. And make sure it's selected black and white. And now we're just going to mask that in. And once we're done, we're going to merge down. Now we're going to do the same thing for the other horn. We're just going to do the same process as we did with the first one. Okay, now we're going to make a little bit of his shoulder area. And we're going to select part of the left shoulder. The reason why these steps look kind of weird is because I did it before I was recording it and I forgot. And we're just going to copy and paste that. And we're going to flip it horizontally by going to Edit, Transform, and then flip horizontally. And then we're just going to mask that in and merge down. This picture on the left is a picture of Wolverine that I got from a toy website, and it's actually pretty cool. You can order this online if you want, and I'll have the link somewhere. Now, we want to darken in on our Daredevil mask where parts of Wolverine eye, sideburns, and kind of pointy horns are. We're going to use our selection tool, and we're going to select that area. Now once that area is selected, we're going to go to Layers, New Adjustment Layers, Hue and Saturation, and going to click that box so it stays within that selected area. And we're going to go to Saturation, and we're going to move the triangle all the way to the left. Now we're going to go back up, and we're going to go to Select, Reselect, so we can reselect that area. Now we're going to darken this in with our burn tool, make sure it's selected. And instead of burning the hue saturation part, what we're actually going to do is we're going to click on the actual picture beneath it, and now we're going to shade that in and burn it. And now we're going to do the same exact technique to the left side. Now we're going to go back over to our Wolverine toy picture because I want to take his horns because it has some nice leather parts to it around the mouth and eyepiece area. And we're also going to use his eyes, nose, and mouth, and a couple of cranial ridges for all Wolverine. We're just going to select this and drag it on over, and we're going to free transform. Going to Edit, Free Transform, and now we're just going to make this to our preference that we want. And now we're going to mask this in, and that button is on the layer window, the second button on the tray at the very bottom. And we're just going to mask in his nose for now. Now, as you can see, there's a little bit of greenish coloring within his leather part of his mask where the black is supposed to be. So we're just going to turn that gray by going to Layer, New Adjustment Layers, Hue Saturation, pull that triangle at saturation all the way to the left, and now you can see parts of the yellow is gray too, and we're just gonna mask that away by clicking in the mask part of the saturation box, and you can use your selection tool. You want to get a precise line, or you can just use your paintbrush. Now we're going to drag that picture on over again and make the horns for him and fill in parts of the black area in his mask. And once we get a size we want, we're just going to, first let's duplicate this picture because we're going to need it again. And to duplicate, you just right click the picture and go to duplication. Now we're going to click that box off the top picture that we duplicated, and we're going to mask that second picture below it. And then once you mask, make sure to select the black and white. Have the black selected. Use your paint bucket and just click within that to make it vanish. And now select white and use your paintbrush to just fill in where you want to be at and just get a nice blending of it. Now I want to add part of the leather part to where his sideburns will be at, or mutton chops. And I'm just going to select part of where that's at and repeat the process again by masking it. Now we're going to do the same exact thing to the left side of the horn. We're going to transform this to meet our preference, and then we're going to mask this in. And now it's time for the eyes. Now all we're just going to do is go back to our picture and select part of his eyes by copying and pasting it, and then we're going to free transform this to whatever angle we want this to make him look a little bit more aggressive. Now we want to get a couple of cranial ridges on top of his forehead, so we'll go back to our picture again, and we're going to select, copy and paste, and we're going to free transform it to how we want it, and then we're going to mask it. Now we need to add part of his mouth, and we're going to drag this over, but first we have to select the part of his mouth, drag it on over. We're going to free transform this by edit, free transform, and then once you get the size you want, we're just going to mask this in, and that's a little too wide for now, so we're going to skip the mouth part and unclick it, but we'll go back to it later. Now I want to add in a mouth that kind of has a smirk to it and has some facial hair stubbles. And there's a picture I found on the internet of a 3D figure. Now we're going to select around his mouth, and we're just going to free transform this to fit our preference, and then we're going to mask it. Okay, now we're going to add some more stubble hair from where his chin is at. And once this is all masked in, you're going to want to duplicate this picture, select it, delete, then merge down by going to layers, then merge down to the very bottom. Then you're going to select around part of his stubble, and then you're going to copy and paste, and then we're going to mask this in to fit around his mouth area that will have facial hair. Okay, now we want to add the claws, and all you have to do is Google Wolverine claws and make sure your selection is picked for large. And just find any old picture, and then once you get your picture, all you have to do is use the selection tool and color around the claws and delete the background until you get like a nice template like this. Okay, now I want to see the reflection of his enemy in his claws, so I found this nice picture of Sabertooth, which is again a toy from this website, and we're just going to drag it on over, but actually I just want the head. I should have selected the head and dragged it on over, but we're going to select the head, copy, paste, and now we're going to free transform this to fit the area around his claws that we want. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to mask this in. We're going to hit the mask tool, and we're going to get our paint bucket, and we're going to mask that in. Now here comes somewhat the tricky part. Now we have to mask this to fit his claws, and it's a nice neat little trick you can use. Go to where his claw is at and duplicate that picture. Go to Layer, Adjustment Layers, Human Saturation, click the box. We're going to go to lightness. It really doesn't matter which way you drag it. You can drag it all the way to the left or all the way to the right. But for now, we're just going to drag it all the way to the left, and as you see, it turned black. Now, I'm not sure what this tool is called. I forget. I think it's called Magic Selection. And it's on the left where all your tools are at. And do you see on the right side of the tray where the pointer tool is at the top? It's that button right beneath it. It looks like a magical wand. I think that's what it's called, Magic Wand or something like that. And you're going to click that. Now we're going to mask our saber tooth if you haven't done it already. And then to fill that in, what we're going to do is we're going to take our magic wand and we're going to select the black claw that we made. And to select it, all you have to do is just click it where you want the black pictures at. And as you can see, it has selected the entire picture. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't, and all you have to do is just keep selecting it over and over. Now, once that's selected, you're going to go back to your saber-tooth picture, click within the mask box, take your paint bucket, make sure it's selected white, and just click within that selected area, and now you see it's masked in there for us. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the left of that picture where the actual pictures is and not the mask box, and we're going to click that. We're going to go to a drop down window that says normal, and we're going to click screen, and now you see it's a little bit more lighter and has like a brightness effect to it. That's a little too bright, and if you want to make it a little more fadier, go to the drop down window that's to the right of that where it says 100%, click that and just move it towards the left to fade it in. And now as we can see that Sabretooth is in his reflection of his claws. I want to add a little bit more stuff to that. I want to add like blood. So I have a blood template that I found on the internet, and you just Google this, and I've already made it into a PNG a long time ago. Now I'm just going to select it, drag it on over, and just add blood all over his claws. And you can free transform the blood, or you can use a filter tool like Twirl, or you can use the liquefy button, which is you hold on select, control, and then you hit Z. And then we're just going to add blood all throughout this picture, because you know Wolverine is this huge killer, and he's always slicing and dicing things open, and he has blood everywhere. And I'm just going to add in the X-Men movie poster picture from the DVD cover, and add that into the background, and there you have it. And you just save that by going to File and Save As, and save it as a JPEG, and there's your Wolverine picture with blood everywhere.